Hey, Sean. I seldom make videos like this, but it seemed fun to do like a 5 things that blank video. So this is my list of 5 excessive pieces of gear that I have for video production. By that I mean these are not things that anyone needs to do video production well, but they're things that either give me the opportunity to create something a little differently than it would turn out without this gear, maybe do stuff a little easier than it would be without this gear, or just making production a little bit more fun. So that's my criteria for what makes something useful to me and exciting, but still obviously excessive. The first thing on the list is my Sony 200 to 600G lens. And this is just a crazy hefty zoom. I got this, the 600 Prime came out and it's like $13,000 and I thought, hey, that's not a good use of my money. But then this came out at the same time, which is 200 to 600, and it was less than $2,000. And it's a great lens. It's a very, very good lens, especially for that kind of money. And while I'm a videographer professionally and a video producer, my passion is bird photography. And when I'm not working and making money from filming, I'm not making money by taking photos of birds. And this lens makes that a lot easier. However, to my surprise, I left this in my bag one time, headed to a video gig, and I ended up using it a ton. Just having the reach that this has, I was filming at a school, and being able to film sort of intimate shots of these children who were playing. We're trying to do this video about the early childhood program, and when you get a camera in somebody's face, especially a kid's face, they notice it, they interact with it, and by being able to step further back and film, it didn't affect them. They didn't know that they were being filmed, so they didn't put on a show for the camera, and it created some beautiful, organic, authentic footage of these kids playing. And then I got to use it again for some events and a fishing tournament that I was filming for. It was helping people with disabilities get out and fish. And I couldn't get on the boats with anybody. I couldn't go out and film with them, but from shore, with this guy, filming at 4K and being able to crop in on the final project at 1080p, I got some awesome shots that you just can't get with a shorter lens, that because I had this, I was able to make a video that was going to be better than it would have been without a lens this long, with not being able to be out on the boats with these people. Are my audio levels good? I hope my audio levels are good. We're going with it. My second excessive thing that I love in video production is my OneWheel Plus. And I got the OneWheel Plus because its battery chemistry compared to the XR is able to be flown on planes. So I can take this with me when I fly to different gigs, and I have, and it's awesome. But what makes this a great tool for filmmaking, not just is it fun and is it an efficient way to get around on set, or I've been on different locations where my vehicle's in one spot and the set is on the other end and there's no way to drive there. Hop on the OneWheel, makes a quick trip out of it. However, being able to stand on the OneWheel and film while holding a gimbal or even the camera with no gimbal creates shots that are only possible otherwise with multiple people. You just can't get a smooth, long tracking shot without either dolly track and a dolly and somebody pushing it, or having like a golf cart being driven by somebody, or a rickshaw or something like that. There's ways to get these long tracking shots, but when I film by myself, which I do a lot, it's so nice to be able to get these unbelievable tracking shots and moving shots that you just can't get without some sort of device like this. And the OneWheel moves with your balance. There's no hand control or anything, so I can keep both hands on my camera. I can monitor my focus and my framing and just lean to follow things. And so I've gotten some amazing shots, especially of vehicles. This thing can go like 19 miles an hour, and so I'm not going to take this at 25 miles an hour with my camera anyway, even if it could, but being able to follow a car at somewhat close to normal speed and get some shots, especially when people have branded trucks or things like that, I've gotten some shots that I absolutely love that just wouldn't be possible without something like this, or they would take a really long time to set up dolly track or to plan it out with the vehicle. And not only can this thing go fantastically on streets, but it can go off-road really easily. And with the tire being so big, I can go on grass and gravel and on trails and stuff. I've used it to film horses. We were working with a horseback riding company, and so we were able to go along the trail and get these tracking shots of the horses that would have been a huge pain to get otherwise. Or to like get a golf cart on this narrow trail would have been almost impossible, or to build dolly track. So this has opened up options. And when I'm filming B-roll, especially of buildings, it's really, really nice to sort of move through the corridors really smoothly and get shots that you just couldn't otherwise get without something like this. So I absolutely love it. It is excessive, but I absolutely love my OneWheel. Number 3 is a light. And I have to be transparent. When I made this list, it was like a year ago. I just haven't made the video yet until now. And I didn't have the light that I have right now. And so the light I put on my list was my Quasar Rainbow Q50, which is a 4-foot LED tube that can be any color you can imagine, and it's a really, really cool light. Since getting that light, I also got a 2-foot version, which I use way more just because it's 2 feet long. It fits in more places. It can fit in a case with my other lights instead of this 4-foot light, which is just a bit unruly or needs an even bigger case. And so I use these Quasars to be hair lights and stuff. They're very light, they're very flexible, and they can be any colors. You can add like an accent color over someone's shoulders, and I do that in a lot of my YouTube videos, not this one. Since getting that though, I also got my Hudson Spider Mozzie, which is this 6-armed flexible LED light that's bicolor. So it can't be any color. It can only be the range of white, but I use this on everything. And the color features of the Quasar I don't use as often as I use this light. And while they're convenient to have those colors, in what I do with a lot of interviews and things like that, it just isn't practical to have a bright pink light or something in any shot that I'm actually going to end up using. But this Hudson Spider Mozzie is excessive. It's an expensive light, and for what I do, I absolutely don't need it, and you don't need it to do great things, but it makes lighting interviews so much easier. Right now, it is just in its raw LED mode. It is just this big light in front of my face. There's no diffusion, no softbox, no anything in front of it. And it creates this really soft, natural light. And that's awesome, but you can also put this thing into a 4-foot umbrella, a 7-foot umbrella. It comes with these things and creates some of the most beautiful looking footage I've ever seen, just with such wrap of light around somebody. And because it's flexible, you can put it in a whole lot of different situations. So absolutely excessive, but I love this light, and it has made me faster and better at my job. Especially since it's bicolor, I can really quickly tune it in with other lights that may be in the scene and not be losing time gelling things, or like when I used to have like my aperture daylight balance stuff, it was always sort of tricky to get everything to match that. So there are a lot of bicolor lights. There are a lot of LED lights. I think this combines all those things in a really flexible and powerfully flexible way that makes me a better producer. Number 4. What was number 4? Number 4 is my cart. I have an Inovativ Voyager NXT 36, which is this collapsible cart that lets me carry all my gear on it. It can hold like 600 pounds of gear, so I can fit all my lights, my cameras, my grip gear, a bunch of C-stands. I can fit everything on this cart, and it doesn't wobble like a mag liner or like a rock and roller does, because it's got a good wide base, but it also collapses into itself, so it fits in my truck really easily. You can fly with it, bring all your gear through the airport in it, then gate check it, set it up when you get to where you're going, put all your gear on it, and you become so much more capable as a single person. That's what it's fantastic as a one-man band so often that I can bring so much gear with me. I mean, even if you're working with other people, it's great to be able to have more gear, and it makes everybody's job easier. But once I'm there, the top and bottom of it are these big, wide, flat surfaces that are carpeted, so I can set my camera gear out on it. I can keep things very organized. And instead of like getting someplace and setting stuff on the ground or on tables that you may find, I find that with my cart, people sort of know that that's my area and they don't touch it. No one sets a glass of water next to my gear. And if I'm setting up on tables, that always happens and it makes me nervous. So I love this cart, and it has made me more capable because I can bring more gear with me, more lights, more grip gear. I can be more flexible when I get to wherever I'm going. And it makes the trip from my vehicle to the shooting location that much better and faster because it's this wonderful big cart that can go over big bumps and stuff like that. And when it does, it's not shaking all over the place. So that alone was a new chapter in my life as a producer, because it made me so much more capable of the kind of things I could produce, because I could bring more gear with me more easily and it wasn't just so cumbersome. And now I've got a 40x40 floppy that I love taking for interviews, and that sticks right up against the side with a couple clamps, and it rolls just so I can keep so much stuff on this, and it has spoiled me and what I'm able to do. And the few times when I haven't brought it, or I've chosen not to, I always regret not having that flexibility. So my cart, number 4. Lastly, my 5th excessive piece of gear that I love with video production is my SmallHD focus monitors with the built-in Teradek. I have a 5-inch on-camera monitor with the Teradek transmitter, and then a 7-inch monitor with the Teradek receiver. So right now, this is what I'm seeing. Is it going to focus? Is it too bright? Yeah, so this is what I'm seeing, and I can preview my shot. This is obviously not a good use case. I can touch this to the receiver. That's not a good use of wireless monitors. It's excessive, I know that. I don't need this. However, having 2 monitors that I often use just as on-camera monitors, I don't use the wireless functionality that much, especially when I'm shooting by myself. There's not really much of a point. But when I'm shooting 2-camera interviews, having a monitor for both cameras is really handy. I can plug both of these directly into a camera. It doesn't have to be wireless. I'd usually turn that off. However, when I do shoot stuff with a director and I'm shooting with a gimbal or something like that, or I'm on the OneWheel, being able to hand this to somebody who can see my shot live, who can check it so I can focus on other things, they can make sure everything's happening right. Having this wireless director's monitor has been huge in a few situations, and especially in COVID, when I don't want a bunch of people crowded around me looking at my camera to review a shot, or looking at my on-camera monitor to review a shot, being able to hand them this wireless monitor and step back, and I can press play on my camera and review the footage, and they can see it, that has been really handy in giving me a bit of personal space for safety and sanity, which I appreciate. So my 5th thing is these Teradek SmallHD focus monitors. And I get that there's also like the Atomos, and I can record really high quality stuff. To me, the stuff I record in camera is great. I don't need that extra stuff for most of my projects. And when I do, I use them. I rent them and use them. But most of the time, this is the right setup for me, having either 2 monitors that I can plug into 2 cameras, or having a wireless option for a director on set. So those are 5 things that I've got in my kit, and I'm constantly updating my kit. And as I change how I do production, and I grow and I learn as a producer, I'm constantly selling gear and replacing it, or trying new things and finding new things that I love. So if I had to make this video in a year, I don't know how it's going to change. Maybe I will make it in a year. But right now, on November 12th, 2021, these are my 5 favorite excessive pieces of gear that I have in my kit. If you've got stuff that you like in your kit that is a bit unconventional, people may roll their eyes and say, well, you don't need that. I'd love to hear what it is, because I don't need any of these 5 things, but I absolutely love having them, and it makes my job better and more fun. So I'd love to hear what you're using to make your job better, easier, more fun. That's all I got. Thank you for watching this. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. So see you later. Bye.